Good morning, everyone. The clock in front of my desk here says 9:30, and I will open the third and final public hearing for our millage rate. We're very glad that all of you are here and looking forward to your participation. The Board of Commissioners are privileged to be able to take many classes offered by the ACCG, the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, and actually receive certification after a certain number of those courses. One of them pertains to taxes, and we wanted to show you this morning a video that it's 10 minutes, but we all feel like it's worth it to observe the description of where county tax dollars end up.
From peaceful mountain towns, bustling metropolitan areas, to small farming communities, Georgia is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Across the state, the places we call home have their own distinctive characteristics, each as unique and interesting as the people who live there. But as much as we appreciate the differences in our communities, there's one thing we expect all of them to have in common. We want them to offer us a good quality of life. And for that, we rely in large part on our local governments. From strong public schools to job opportunities. From reliable public safety to well-maintained roads and bridges. From facilities like libraries and public health centers to diverse recreational opportunities. Counties, cities, and schools around Georgia provide the services that keep our communities safe, clean, comfortable, and prosperous. The role of local governments is to provide services that enhance the quality of life and protect the health and safety of citizens. How do we pay for all these services? In large part, it's through our property taxes. Local governments, our counties, cities, and schools use these taxes to finance services that add value to our property. Things like fire protection and law enforcement, parks and land use planning and zoning, sidewalks and storm drainage systems, the construction and maintenance of infrastructure like roads and bridges, and trash collection and animal control. Across the state, property taxes represent the largest local source of revenue for local governments. It's through our property taxes that we have local control over the services we use on a daily basis, things that directly affect our quality of life. But what does it mean for you and me? What value do we really get for our tax dollars? While individual bills vary, on average, a Georgia family pays a little more than $1,500 a year in all county, city, and school property taxes. Of that $1,500, what they pay to support roads maintenance for a year is about the cost of a couple of oil changes. Their contribution for library services is less than what you'd spend on one hardback book. What they pay for the county health department, about the cost of a bottle of cough syrup. And their share of courts and jails for a year is what they spend for 3 months of a private home security system. Across the state, every county operates in its own way. So the amount you pay and the benefits you receive depend on which county you live in. Some services, including courts and jails, emergency management and vital records archives for birth and death certificates and marriage licenses, are required by state law. Every county must provide these. Others, like libraries or parks, are discretionary. They are the ones we as citizens want in our communities, but not necessarily something the county is required to provide. But how do we know we're getting what we pay for? And how do we know that what we're paying is fair? For most of us, our home is our most important asset, and it's the most expensive investment we'll ever make. So the property taxes we pay, in essence, they're an insurance policy on our investment. Because they pay for the county services that help protect our property. Every property tax bill reflects several different components. In addition to our county taxes, if we live in a city, we may pay city taxes as well. We're also billed for schools, which represent the largest portion of the property tax bill, as much as 2/3 of the total amount. When our county commission, city council, and school board adopt these budgets each year, they take into consideration requests and recommendations from citizens, as well as expenditures required by the state or federal governments.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Then they estimate how much can be raised from sources like sales taxes, business taxes, and user fees. The remainder of the budget comes from property taxes. To calculate the tax rate, the percentage that will be charged, the amount needed from property taxes is divided by the total value of all taxable property in the county. This total value, also known as the County Tax Digest, includes not just homes, but businesses, apartments, industrial property, and farmland as well. The tax rate, that is the percentage we pay, is stated in terms of mills, with a mill equal to $1 per $1,000 of assessed property value. For tax purposes, state law requires property to be assessed at 40% of its fair market value. So, if your home is worth $100,000, its assessed value is $40,000. This is the value used to calculate your property taxes. But other factors affect what you're charged. There are various exemptions that can be deducted from the $40,000. For example, the state general homestead exemption, some local homestead exemptions, and exemptions for people over the age 62 and for disabled veterans. So to calculate your total taxable assessed value, you first subtract the exemptions from your home's $40,000 value. Let's say you qualify for a $5,000 homestead exemption, and you're eligible for a $1,000 exemption because you're 62 or older. Now, deduct these amounts, and the value you're taxed on comes to $34,000. Then, to determine how much you owe, you multiply the assessed value of your property by the millage rates set by the county, school board, and city. So, who are the players in the tax process? The Georgia Constitution requires that all property be valued in a uniform manner. And the Georgia legislature enacts property tax laws that determine which properties are taxed and which are exempt. Your Board of Tax Assessors is required by law to value your property at its current market value. To do this, the board hires a state-trained appraisal staff. The state enforces the requirement that appraisals be kept at market value by levying a fine on counties that don't keep property values current. Your county commissioners administer the property tax system in your county, but they have no role in appraising, billing, or collecting property taxes. The County Board of Tax Assessors and the Tax Commissioner carry out those functions independently of the county commissioners. The Tax Commissioner, an official you elect, sends you your tax bill and collects taxes. He or she then distributes the money to the school board, county government, and city governments. But what if you think your contribution in local property taxes is unfair? What recourse do you have? Well, first, make sure you review your annual property assessment notice as soon as you receive it. This notice is distributed in late spring to early summer, and you have 45 days from the time you receive it to exercise your right to appeal. Your first step is to appeal to your local Board of Assessors. If your concerns are not satisfied at this level, there are a number of options for furthering your appeal up to and including filing a complaint in Superior Court. Your assessment notice provides a list of your options for appeal. It also includes an estimate of your property taxes that you will owe at the end of the year. If you have concerns about the millage rate, Contact the county commissioners, school board, or city officials who adopted the budget that led the millage rate. You may also get many of your questions answered by looking on your county's website. Tax bills are distributed towards the end of the year. This is not the time to appeal your property's value. That must be done when the assessment notice is received. However, if you think there are errors in your tax bill, or if you have a question about your bill, you should contact the tax commissioner's office. As Georgia's population continues to grow, our counties, cities, and school boards are required to provide more services for more people. Governments are called on to do more with less. So in the end, it's really a matter of balance. If we feel that our property taxes are too high, we're unhappy. But if they're too low, we don't receive the services that support the quality of life we all desire. Schools, law enforcement, ambulance service, fire protection, emergency management, garbage collection and disposal, road construction and maintenance, public transportation, water treatment and water supply, stormwater and sewage systems, animal control, public health centers, libraries, archives, parks and recreational facilities. The list of services our counties deliver goes on and on. Not every citizen in every county will use all the services the county offers. But all of them, like our courts and jails or recreation facilities and infrastructure development, help shape the identity of our communities and help create a sense of place that lets us know this is where we belong. So whether you live in a big city or a small town, whether you're in the mountains of North Georgia or in the rural areas of the South, the next time you pay your property taxes, think about all the benefits they provide. They're an investment you make in your home, your neighborhood, your community. And they are an investment that pays off day after day, year after year, by protecting the things that are most important to you. Your home, your family, and your quality of life. For more information, visit us at factsaboutpropertytax.com.
I've asked 3 county employees to say something at the podium this morning, beginning with our finance director, Ms. Pollard. But before she begins, I'd like to ask Ms. Skipper if she wants to say anything about the Bill of Rights, the Voters' Bill of Rights, or any rules this morning.
Sorry. My microphone wasn't even on. The Taxpayer Bill of Rights was adopted in 2000 under Governor Roy Barnes. It is under that bill that the public hearing process is put into play. This is the 3rd public hearing that we are having on the millage rate. We had 2 last month. During this public hearing, any person can speak, and there's no limitation on how long they can speak or whether or not they can speak more than one time. So as we call people up to the podium, all you need to do is sign in, state your name, and then you can speak. If you want to speak more than once, you're free to do that. And again, there's no time limit.
Ms. Pollard has worked so hard on this budget this year, and she's going to open up this morning.
Great, thank you. Well, we took the responses that we got at the last meeting on the 25th and tried to answer some questions that were asked in that meeting. So hopefully this will answer those and we'll all have a better understanding of what we're doing today and how our property taxes are used. The reason for the video was to show you an overall that Paulding is no different from any other county. We're all going through the same process. We adopt a budget. We have revenues, so you have to take your budget minus your other revenues, and those are the taxes that are required. And then it's divided by the digest to get the millage rate, which is what we're setting today. Okay. So again, from the video, you have the assessed value. That's basically 40% of your actual value. Gross digest is everybody's combined into one digest, one value amount, and your net tax digest is the 40% value minus any exemptions. Your millage rate is calculated at $1 per thousand of assessed value. And as Ms. Skipper described, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights says that if your assessed value goes up, then your millage rate must come down to what's called a rollback rate. The rollback rate will calculate, give you what the same levy that you had last year. Is that working the same for everybody? No, because you had some that their values went up more than others. You have some that went down. And so we take the total overall digest and the amount that it went up based on assessed value, the reassessment, we are required to roll it back or advertise for tax increase, and that's what we've done. This screen is a 5-year history. It's advertised in the paper because I know you can't see it, and everybody has copies of the slides in your chairs so that hopefully you can read along. But to magnify that, I've decreased it to 3 years. You can see that the net M&O digest for last year was $3.7 million, and it has increased to $4.1 million. Your M&O millage for last year was 6.188, and the amount needed to complete the budget this year is 6.5. Over the past few years, we've had a lot of discussion on what's happened to the value of the mill, so what happened in the market. And if everybody looks at your own individual tax bills, again, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody because everybody's not the same. But in 2008, we had our highest digest value. So our property tax values were at its highest. And then it decreased from 2009 through 2012 by about 42%. In 2013, we began to see a slight increase. And as you can see in the tax rate, we decreased the tax rate to go along with the increase in assessed values up through 2016. And this gives it to you in another picture of basically what our values are. And in 2017, you'll see that our property taxes are about $27 million, and that's about what we were in 2010. Surrounding millage rates. So these are from 2016 because, as we mentioned in the video, every county governments are going through the same process, and they're to set 2017. So polling for the M&O, and that M&O is the county M&O, and I've also included the fire to get to the 9.288, and we're in the middle of the list. We're not at the highest. So how do your taxes break down? When you get your tax bill, how does that break down? And as you can see, the school is the biggest portion. So of the 30.237 mills, the school is 18.879 of those. You have debt, which is used to fund the debt obligations of the county at 2.07, and the fire, which is dedicated entirely to improve fire service, of 3.1. Today, what we're talking about for this public hearing is the M&O 6.5 or 21%, so 21% of that tax bill. So for the ease of math, I have calculated a $200,000 home, and the increase from the 2016 value, and this is simplified, no exemptions, so it's not exactly right, but this gives you a good idea of how the math works. 2016 value of $200,000 home is 40% assessed value of $80,000. With the millage rate at 6.188, it was $495. With the millage rate and increased assessment on average, it goes to $557. So kind of what we're talking about is $62 for a $200,000 home. That being said, if it's a $100,000 home, it's about $31. If it's $300,000 home, it's $93. If it's a $400,000 home, it's $125. If that makes sense. So that's why I use 200, because it's easy to go up or down with that. Does that make sense? However, in Paulding, an average tax bill is $160,000. So of that 40% assessed value is 60. So your taxes are based on $64,000. For your M&O at 6.5, the portion that we're talking about is this $416 of that $1,954 bill. So your bond and interest is about $132. Your fire tax is $198, which was voter approved in 2006, I believe, and went into effect in 2007. And your school tax is $1,208. So how does that $416 break down? What do you get for that? What do you get for the that $416 that you pay? So the largest expense we have is obviously public safety. So 36%, and the way these are calculated is this is the total amount of expenditures for the government. So of the $67 million, I've broken it down by percentage to get the 36%, and then 36% of the $416 gives you what you're paying for public safety. So you're paying $148 for public safety. And we'll talk about what each one of these categories include in just a minute. The general government, that's basically your price of having government. It's at 23%, and judicial is at 9%, public works is 21%. And again, we'll talk about what's included in each one of those. So your general government, 23%. That includes your commission. It's you guys. It's the role that you have with the public. It's the elections. It's the process that we're going through right now. It's when you look at finance, it's the payroll, it's your accounts payable, it's your bidding, it's your purchasing, it's the value of being able to do those things. Your tax commissioner and your tax assessors, your government facilities are included in that, so your upkeep of all the facilities that we have, human resources, your ability to hire, your ability to manage your employees, retirement for all employees, your insurance, your work comp, your liability, your information technology, and your Channel 23 public information. So that's our source of transparency to try to get information out to the public about what's going on in the government. That's what makes up the category general government, or the cost of having government. Your judicial is $38.26. That's the cost of the majority of what goes on in the courthouse. And those are services that we can't do without. Public safety, that's the cost of your sheriff and detention center. And you have your marshal and your animal control that we see out in the public that are keeping us safe on the roads and in our daily activities. Public works, so $88.24 goes primarily to transportation. Included in that is your fleet maintenance, so your vehicle maintenance on all the vehicles that you're recycling. And it's in this year your stormwater. That's something that you haven't had in the past few years. That was one of the reductions that we made, was to combine stormwater into transportation, and that put us in instead of a proactive position, we're in a reactive. So if something, the stormwater drains, DOT's going out to see about it. If it breaks, then they're seeing about it. But to complete the maintenance to make sure that doesn't happen, that's not something that's being done right now. Your recreation, those, as was mentioned, or maybe some perks that you have. Paulding has 8 park locations. This is a picture from the Moody's those are offered free of charge. You have Trick or Treat Village in Paulding Meadows. You have your fireworks at the 4th of July. That's a lot of Paulding's enjoyment. And your libraries, you have 4 libraries in each area of the county. This is from a children's program. So they did summer reading programs and entertained the kids, give them fun activities throughout the summer. Your health and welfare breaks down to about $7.20. So what's included in that? Your community services, which is also known as Meals on Wheels. That's a cooperation with Coosa Valley. So that takes meals out to the shut-ins or to those that otherwise might not have a hot meal. Your transit buses, that's available to all Paulding County. We don't charge a fee for riding those. You have to call and schedule them a day ahead, and it's transportation. Some's for medical, some's for work related, some's for shopping. And then you have your health department, and this budget has an increase to the health department in the amount of 5%. The health department hasn't had an increase in quite a few years, but they've requested one for quite a few years. It's fairly small, but overall, all of these included is about $7.20 of that $416 that we talked about. Housing and development, those extension and community development. So how are you going to grow? What are we going to do with, we just adopted a comprehensive plan. How are we going to implement that? Are we going to, how do we manage the growth that's coming? Population is increasing. And if we don't manage that, then we can't provide services. So we try to manage that so that we can provide the services at the least cost in the most manageable way. And your extension office, this is a picture of your master gardeners. They're trying to do, they're beautifying the community. So one of the questions that was asked, and I did a brief list of how have expenses been reduced. We've had various positions have been frozen since 2007. So while we've added some positions in areas of the county, we have not operated in many departments full staff since 2007. We had a big staff reduction in 2009. Capital outlay has been very restricted, and by very restricted, I mean we pretty much took you maintain it, you try to keep it from breaking, but you're not getting anything until we're going to band-aid it until it can't be band-aided anymore. And then if we are going to operate inefficiently, then we'll purchase it. But if there's a way to operate efficiently without purchasing it, that's what we've done. Stormwater, talked about that a little bit. It's been reactive rather than proactive. We've done telephone audits. We've done competitive bid process, and one of the not so usual things that we've done was we bid out employee health care last year to try to keep that from reducing. However, this year we did see a $900,000 increase for the employee health care that you've got to generate money to fund. The expense is already occurring. We've contracted some services rather than hiring employees where possible. So those are a few ways that we have reduced expenses where we could. Some of the goals for 2018. So as you know, we've all tried to focus on level of service. So while we haven't taken this easy, we're trying to come back from so what's expected of us? What can be expected of your government employees? Public safety response times. If you're going to fund public safety, you expect them to show up when you need them. We're trying to get to 24/7 government, so focus on permitting and online and being able to conduct activities outside of this building over the internet rather than citizens having to come into this building, which should long-term find a way to reduce our cost. But technology is expensive and it's constantly changing. So we want to improve transparency of citizen information through Channel 23. And if you don't know what Channel 23 is, that's our means of getting information out to the public. So through the cable channel. We have some equipment enhancements that if those don't make, we may or may not be able to continue that. We will continue the service as long as we can, but again, it's going to be a Band-Aid in some cases. Improved library by restoring 2 reference specialists. Human Resources has an additional person to improve focus on recruitment and selection process. And Department of Transportation, one of their main goals was to respond in a more timely manner. Marshal's office currently has 3 officers per shift, which will allow for litter enforcement, evening and weekend presence within county. And Community Development is currently working on updating the planning and zoning ordinances. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do with the, as we come back from the reduced service and out of status quo into a more proactive approach. Do you have any questions or comments? We'll open it up.
Well, that lays a tremendous foundation. As to additional people to come forward, I'm going to call on the Sheriff Gullidge at this time, which is, as you saw in the slides that Kevin just presented, the largest percentage of our overall M&O budget. Thanks for being here.
Will be a sign in? Or? Thank y'all for the last time to come and talk. And I'd like to folks say once again, me and my guys appreciate you more than you'll ever know. It's nice to know that I know you're extremely busy this time of year, but I've never called her. I never need any help, that she don't stop what she's doing to help me. And I want all your bosses to know that without you, this process would not be any fun, any less fun than it already is. I appreciate you and all the work you do. Told several of y'all I didn't think it's fair for y'all to sit up here and get darts thrown at you. And I said I'm part of the reason that the public's kind of complaining about the taxes going up, and I'm part of the reason that y'all are spending the tax money, so I figured I'd make myself available as a dartboard too. The Sheriff's Office, we have about 297 employees. We're down on numbers. We can't. Let me back up a little bit. For some reason, when I got here, everything, like somebody opened the bottom and the bottom fell out. So I came here in 2009 when everything went on a downhill slide. So, and I don't have Tabitha's gift for words. I'm kind of country, so I talk like a country guy. You know, when I came here, the hound bone was pretty good. And the first year I got elected, all the meat got chewed off the bone. And then we chawed on the bone for a while, and we chopped it in half, and we sucked all the juice out of it. The bone's been dry for quite a while, so I don't know this. I'm glad to see the economy making a turnaround, and I hope it continues to go the other way. I'd like to see this county prosper and move forward, and I think it will. Fantastic people in this county, but they do have a lot of demand on us for service, so they have a lot of demand on all the county agencies for service. When they call us, they don't expect to hear, well, as soon as we get a deputy clear from this call, we're going to come to your call. When they call, they want us there. Matter of fact, they want us in their driveway when they call. So, you know, we're doing our best to get our response times down, and that's something that every law enforcement agency should strive to do, which is be more responsive to the public. We're not perfect. I tell them professional eludes me daily, and it does. It seems to slip away every time you see it, and you think you get your hand on its gone. Last year, the Georgia State Patrol threw us pretty much all a curveball. The governor and his, I don't know how he done it. I know why he done it. I just don't know how he pulled it off. Last year, State Patrol got about a 26% pay increase for the year for all their troopers. Their trooper schools, they went from having numbers in the teens to this trooper school they get in now is in the high 50s. So you can say that money won't fix the problem. Well, money fixes some problems, and it fixes it where you can hire qualified athletes. But more than that, it also fixes so you can retain them after you get them hired and trained, which is a problem we're having at the Sheriff's Office. We hire them, send them to school, we train them. It's about 2 years before you can get we call them a new recruit, before you can get them schooled, educated, trained, and in a car to where you can pretty much put them in the car by themselves and they can answer calls and handle themselves on their own. They don't stay very long when you got neighboring counties and neighboring agencies that's offering $10,000, $12,000 a year raise. For people that's got, I guess like me, that's done got on the other side of the 50 spectrum, you know, I'm not gonna change my lifestyle for that kind of money, but if y'all will all remember back when you first get married, or you first take your kid, and it's hard to look at these guys and tell them that $10,000 or $12,000 will change your life, because they see a lot of things that they can do with that kind of money, so they go to the next paying bidder. So in our budget this year, we've asked for more employees. We've got to have more people keep moving here. The demand for calls and services is going up. As they come here, they're going to build more schools. If they build more schools, they're going to want school resource officers in them, and they come from my office. The good thing is I know the school board, their part of the tax bill is a lot higher than ours are. At least when we've got deputies in the schools boards are paying those the county tax, or I shouldn't say the county, but the board of commissioners and sheriff's officers not having to pay their salary while the taxpayers are still doing it, so we get some of the benefit out of that part of it. I know I sound like a broken record to y'all, but every year I come up here and I tell you, we've got to improve the pay and benefits for our guys. If we don't, we're going to be in a continuing hiring, training, watching them leave, and that's where we're at. It's not going to get any better. These guys deserve to be paid better than they are. Right now, starting deputy, the starting pay for a deputy in my office, and I think I've talked to the public, I've had some of y'all in the meeting when I've talked to the public. I fully believe that the public understands that they need more money. I'm trying to think if I had any. Every time I talk to the public, I tell them what our guys make, and I've asked them, would they support paying them more? I've never had one person, and some of y'all have been in these meetings when I asked them, I said, if you got an issue with it, would you, a show of hands, and nobody's ever had a problem with it. These guys are starting out making $16.58 an hour, and it's really no surprise why we can't keep our staff full. Right now, we've got probably 16 openings at the office and about 8 at the jail, and I've asked for more positions. I mean, I don't know that it's going to get any better. We've got to improve the pay and benefits for these guys for this to change. It's not going to change until we do. So it's not my call, it's y'all's call, but I don't feel like it's fair for me to ask y'all for stuff for my guys and me not to stick my face beside y'all and let them, throw darts at me too. So it's my responsibility. They elected me the sheriff, but my guys are also looking at me to help them improve their pay and improve their benefits and improve their way of life. When we're fully staffed, it's better for the public. There's more of us out there, and I know everybody wants to be safe, and I wish I could tell you that you're never going to have a problem here. But the reality of life is that at some point in time you're going to need us, and when you call us, you want us to be there. You don't want to wait on us. So we're I was talking to the guy this morning. I said, I guess we're kind of like the air conditioner guy. Nobody knows the air conditioner guy till your air quits blowing cool when it's 90 degrees. And it's the same way when you call 911. You expect to hang up the phone and open the door and say, "Come on in, dude." Well, sometimes 12 minutes is an hour, and sometimes 2 minutes is a day. So this is according to what's going on at your house, but I'll make myself available to questions. I'm always open to the public. Our doors are always open to the public. Anything we do, any money we spend, we'll be as transparent. We'll show you anything we got. The books is open. You can come to our office. You can do anything you want to there. My office is your office. You paid for it, so you're welcome there. And any questions you got, I'm always out in the public. Like a dummy, I'm on Facebook, so I can't get away from it. I answer questions a lot more than I really want to, but I get them at nights and on the weekends. If you can't get me, I'm usually in the meeting or in the shower when I don't answer my phone. Other than that, I usually talk to everybody. But do y'all have anything for me or anything I can answer for y'all?
I think Commissioner Crowe has the rest of that ham bone.
I know all y'all have been chewing this bone before, so this is nothing new coming from me. But I apologize to the public if we have needs, but we do. I don't know what else to say other than we've got to start taking better care of our employees.
Appreciate the Sheriff Gillett.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Ask one other county employee to speak. The next largest percentage out of the full county M&O budget is DOT. So I've asked Scott Green if he would come share with us a couple minutes worth of his challenges.
Thank you. I'll tell you a little bit about our challenges. We have 993 miles of roads, 61 bridges, and 46 traffic signals. Since I began work here in 2004, Our staff level has increased 17%, while the population has increased 37%. Asphalt has increased 60%, and the number of traffic signals we maintain has increased 540%. Even the budget we have proposed is not real sustainable. For example, preserving our roads, keeping costs low at the optimum time, we should be paving about 70 miles per year, but we are averaging less than 40 miles per year. And we are faced with some upcoming challenges. As our neighborhoods begin to reach 20 years old from the boom years, that's around 1998 or so, to 2007, we added 656 new neighborhoods. That's half of our subdivisions in the entire county were added in a 10-year period. That's coming, beginning in about another year. Those will start hitting 20 years old. Those streets are going to be old, and we're going to need to start doing something with them at a higher level than we have been. We still have 16 frozen positions today from the hiring freezes and other staff reductions and combining the departments. When the stormwater was combined in with DOT with just a couple of the staff transferred, we eliminated the utilities coordination department, and we still have 8 frozen positions of 7 freeze and staff reductions in 09. We did propose for this year to add a few positions back, engineering and traffic analysts, to help with the citizen request. And one of the things I feel for the most is the call takers. They're taking the request from the citizens. They're between a rock and a hard place, so to speak, trying to explain to the customers why we can't get to something quickly. They don't have any way to fix the problem. The staff in the field fixes the problem when they're able, but we're having to explain to them why we can't get to it fast enough. So I appreciate if we can approve those in this budget. We also recommended hiring 2 of our frozen truck driver positions to fill those back. We laid those off, or we froze those, and then we went to the private sector to fill the needs in the short term. And now that's been a kind of a year in, year out cost. We can go ahead and replace that and not increase our budget just by going back in-house. And we get more out of those employees than we would a contractor. In view of the tax burden, we do ask for less than we really need. This is very frustrating because we take pride in our work. We want to respond efficiently. We want to respond and do a good job. We care about the quality we're doing, but we can't keep up with the workload and manage efficiently without the proper resources. So that's a long story short. Our demands are increasing faster than our response. I'm glad to answer any questions.
We have additional department heads in this room. If some of the public have questions that specifically they can answer, but this time I would like to open the podium up to citizens that would like to talk about the millage rate.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Nobody else is going on.
Good morning, please sign in.
Is there? I hope you got my email. I got no acknowledgments that it was even received, but I hope you read it. I have a couple things that, as we were going through here, that when Tabitha was going through here, Tabitha, I want to thank you. I know that this is a lot of work, and you've dedicated a lot of time to it, so I really, really appreciate it. So now I'm going to go in here. I want to look at the surrounding millage rates. Yes, we're sort of in the middle, kind of the high end on the middle, but I want to point out Douglas County at 32.26 certainly has no bond rate. Their school board is a little higher. Their millage rate is higher. But when was the last time y'all went to Douglas County? That shows you that throwing more money at something is not always the answer. Because Douglas County is a mess. Oops. debt. We have quite a bit of debt. We've talked about this before. I certainly hope that in the next fiscal year, the next couple of years, you don't anticipate adding more debt other than our jail that the citizens voted on. You know, and I have to say, everyone wants more money. I want more money. Everyone wants more help. I get that. I get it. But we don't have the money. Which brings me into some of my notes. You're asking me, through this tax increase, to do something that I can't do for myself or my own employees. I am a small business owner. When we went through the same recession, we cut our personnel to the bare bones. We went from 10 to 12 inside people to 4. My husband is 70 years old. He is working 50 to 60 hours a week because we cannot afford to hire a field guy. We don't have the money. I would love to be able to hire him, but I don't have the money. And I don't have a resource that I can go to and say, give me more money so I can hire more people. I have no health insurance. For the first time in my life, I'm 62 years old and I don't have health insurance because I can't afford it. It was pay my employees or pay the premiums. I had to pay my employees. That was my first choice. You're asking me to pay for health insurance and I can't even get it for myself. We also consolidated our offices when we reduced. We had 2 levels where our offices were. We reduced and put everybody together. We're sharing offices so that we don't have to heat or cool or have that second floor. I share an office with somebody and our estimator shares an office with the field guy now. And there would probably be more if we hire anybody else. We're not in a position where we can open that top floor again. So they would have to share an office with my husband. Again, we don't have any money. We don't have any money. But on the agenda today is the approval to buy a building that's a piece of prime commercial property.
Yep.
Okay. We saved all this money. But did we create one job? If that building was sold commercially to somebody else, guess what? You would create jobs. What you're doing is moving county employees into a prime commercial property. There's no job creation there.
Money spent.
Economic development is about job creation. And when you give away or take a piece of prime commercial property, and you can say all you want. We save $3 million, we save $2 million. The only way to save money is to not spend it. That's the only way. A penny saved is a penny earned. So we're talking about 6.118 or 6.5. No matter which one you go with, it's still a tax increase. If you leave the millage rate where it was last year, with the property assessments, it's still a tax increase. The only way to avoid a tax increase is to roll that millage rate back again. So if you're not going to roll it back, I don't care if it's 6.18, 118, or 6.5. Either way, it's a tax increase. I live in Yorkville, which is a remote area of Paulding County. Paulding County does not end at the airport. It goes on, and there's probably another 15,000 people that live beyond the airport. I live on gravel road. And my road, they came through, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago and put the millet down. It served well for 2 or 3 years. But it's not, the ditches have not been redug. Now the millet is even washing away. Most of it's in my driveway as you come down that hill. The little tiny stones have washed down. I want to know that how much of the tax increase that the state gave us, 2 or 3 years ago, for transportation is coming back to Paulding County. I haven't seen that anywhere. I've heard, we're getting money, but I don't know what percentage of the the Transportation Department's budget is funded by those funds. And I would like to know that. As I said in my email, I am a small business owner. I have to make decisions much like you do every single day. I have employees. They have families to feed. They don't have health insurance either. I had to take away their health insurance too. Couldn't afford it. They get paid. We haven't had raises in my office in 7 years. Nobody's gotten a raise. And you know what else they don't get? They don't even get a vacation. If they take time off to go on vacation, it's unpaid because they can't afford to pay them. And you want me, as a taxpayer, to fund what I can't do for myself. Y'all are good men, and I've said this 100 times. Good men can make bad decisions. Please, don't make a bad decision.
Thank you, Kathy.
Good job, Ms. Kathy. You just inspired me even more. I was going to come up and say today, as you talk about the county, what really is the county? The county is these families that live in our county. That's our biggest asset anyway, is our people. And when these families sit at home and they look at their budget and they go, oh, we really need a new dryer, or we need a new car, or we need this, or even like Catholic, I have no health insurance because I can't afford it. So when you get out there and you see all that, and these family members, they can't go ask you guys, say, can you give me some money so I can get a car? Can I get a dryer? I mean, gosh, I got to do all this stuff. These families live within what they have. So I ask you to think about the families that are there, and also tell you this. I've heard, well, school board did us in, they kept their stuff there, and we're already going to have a tax increase because of school board. Okay, I get that. When people look at their bills, their tax bills, don't think they don't do this. I've done it, everybody I know does it, and they have an increase. They go back and they say, let me go back and look and see what my millage rate was last time. I know I had the assessment, I got that earlier, and I know I'm going to have a tax increase on that. They're going to go back and look at their assessment. They're going to look at the school boards, it's going to maintain the same thing. It's always been the same thing. And they are going to see that it's 3 times higher than what the county says. But if the county, going that they have in the past, rolled it back enough to think of the citizens, don't roll it back, or at least increase it, then they are going to blame the whole increase on you guys. My second point is, all the counties around us are suffering with this, I guess you could call it suffering, but it is a good thing too that your assessments are going back up, but they dropped so low. Fulton County rolled back their assessment to 2016 level because the people are so outrageously upset at how much their tax dollars went up. Cobb County recently turned down a tax increase and is going to their reserves because they understand because of assessments there is a tax increase and their citizens cannot afford anymore. I mean, if you want to say, yeah, I am supporting this airport, or I don't support this airport and I'm up here fighting and my people love me. If you want your people to turn against you, raise their taxes. They could care less about an airport. The only thing they're going to care about then is their taxes. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Dave, I don't want to put Scott on the spot too much. And Scott, if you don't know, need to get look this up. Please just say so. But Ms. Helms had mentioned about state funding from the transportation bill and how that gets back to the county. And she had asked about percentages. I don't know if you have any percentages, but could you explain how that's worked and maybe how it's improved the situation from your point of view over the last year or so.
Be glad to try to answer.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The LMIG program, the state grant program, which comes from motor fuel back to the counties by a formula, has increased in the last few years from 1.3 million to 1.8 million this year. That's a 500,000 increase, 38%. That goes straight into our budget. I think y'all may have heard me comment before, half of our asphalt program is funded with state grants and SPLOST. So about 3.8 million, which is 1.8 from LMIG, 2 million from SPLOST, and then another 3.8 million from general fund, goes to a total budget of about 7.9 million for paving. That is a small increase, probably only, I guess, 15-20% versus a year ago. So it is helping us. It's not a one-to-one increase in miles because the cost of paving is going up. We saw in one of our contracts about a 15% increase in paving. So while we try to increase our budgets, we're often set back by inflation. So it's a constant struggle to evaluate and try to budget correctly going forward.
Thank you, Scott.
They will.
Kathy, did that answer your question?
It did, but I believe that there's more funding that's going to be available after this year, because I believe the way they did that was incremental, so I believe there's going to be more dollars available.
And we're going to go after every penny we can get and use it hopefully constructively. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Marla Boole. My husband and I just moved to Paulding last September, so we haven't even been in the county for a year yet. And to see that the taxes are going to be raised by 13.54% is kind of shocking. We are on a fixed income, and we are staying even right now. But, you know, the percentage is huge to us. And what I don't understand is why a chunk like this all at one time. Why can't the county do a little bit each year? I know you have to stay even with inflation. I know you have to pay people salaries. I understand the need for people to have a decent rate of pay, especially first responders. But, you know, when I look at that, I'm like, wow, welcome to Paulding County, you know? And I was thankful, you know, I'm sorry, touched your mouse there, but I'm sorry, you know, that I can't afford more. I wish we could, but my husband is not in great health. He was forced out of his job. We're on fixed income now. And I understand the need for a tax increase. And I'm willing to pay a little more taxes, but can you just reduce it down to something that's like closer to like inflation level or something? Because I drive around this county and I see people struggling to make ends meet. They're trying to buy school supplies and they you know, are trying to just save money any way they can. And I just would appeal to you to please, you know, can you make this a little bit less?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to take the time to talk to us.
Anyone else? Seeing nobody coming forward at this time, I will call the public hearing closed. And